So I get this question a lot. People want to know how I afford to buy all the sneakers that I buy. They want to know how to budget to be able to buy their own sneakers. So I figured I'd go ahead and give this video a try. I've done a couple of these in the past, but this is 2019, almost 2020. So I give you guys an update on kind of this conversation and topic. So hopefully some of you guys will find this video helpful, and if you guys do, drop a like on the video. But let's go ahead and jump in. Disclaimer. Buying sneakers and material possessions will not give you long-term happiness. Collecting sneakers should really be a hobby. It is not life or death. Shouldn't be. You can focus your attention on other things like giving your family a hug every now and then. I would say even give your friends a hug next time you see them. Make it really uncomfortable and odd, some of your friends that you don't hug, and let them know Hess told you to give them a hug. Just know that sneakers are not the end-all be-all of a person. They're just obviously extras. So now that we got that out of the way, I did tweet this out the other day and it got a lot of traction and a lot of people really wanted me to talk about it, so I'm bringing it to this YouTube video now. Basically, I said if you spend $200 a month on sneakers, it equals $2,400 a year, and I suggest that you work on doubling that budget, but instead put the other $2,400 in a Roth IRA. You see that? I tricked you into thinking about investing. It's really actually something that's kind of important because a lot of times you see material possessions, you see people, especially with these type of channels, including mine, where we show you a lot of sneakers on a weekly basis, and it's kind of a reckless sort of form of entertainment in a sense where you, the consumer out there, can be getting the misconception that us creators are infinitely wealthy, but really people like myself and you guys out there should be thinking about the bigger picture in life, which is not just the sneakers, the here and now, but your future, like investing in a Roth IRA and 401k and some financial planning in a sense. So I know this video is gonna be boring for some of you guys out there, and you can click away from the video now if you don't want to hear about any of that. I will get into more of that towards the end of the video, but it's something that's really, really important. When you're talking about formulating a budget for how much you can spend on sneakers, how can you do that if you owe thousands of dollars a month on credit cards, student loans, and everything else that you have as debt? How can you take the time and money to invest in your future if you're already in debt? So that's part of the reason why this is kind of an important topic. So it's bigger than just buying sneakers. I created another video a couple years ago for 5 steps to getting out of debt. Highly recommend you guys checking it out. It was actually something I was going through back then. I had over $100,000 in debt from student loans and car payments and whatnot. So I made a lot of adjustments to be able to get to the next level. So check out that video on how I got out of debt. That will be really insightful. And I'll be probably the first to admit that I had credit card balances up to $10,000 from just basically buying sneakers. Because I didn't create a nest egg to be able to buy my sneakers, I basically just used my credit card. And then anytime something dropped, I was like, oh, I gotta get it. It's limited. If I don't get it, then I won't be able to get it at that price. So I needed to charge it a couple $1,000s here and there. And then next thing you know, I have a big balance that I have to focus on and then pay off. Instead of investing that money into future things, I was playing catch up on the things that I was in debt with. So one other thing I want to mention to be able to get to a sneaker budget is using Dave Ramsey's baby steps. It's something that I didn't realize at the time 2 years ago, but now I'm like, dude, I wish I would have known that. I hear about it all the time. He has 7 fundamental baby steps. Baby step number 1 is to save $1,000 for an emergency fund. It's really important to start here because if you have an emergency that comes up, you have a toothache, your car needs to be fixed, you have that $1,000 emergency fund to help you out. Baby step number 2 is pay off all non-mortgage debt. Student loans, credit cards, car payments. Those are the big ones that people get into debt and they think it's normal because you have the debt of a car payment. But $500 a month on a car payment, knock that $500 car payment out completely, then use $200 for your sneaker budget, and then you have $300 to save. Like, that's how much of a difference it makes from owning your car and buying something that you can afford versus buying the hottest thing that will get the ladies to turn their heads and the dudes to be jealous or whatever. Buy something within your budget. Also very important. Baby step number 3 is to save 3 to 6 months of expenses in savings. Baby step number 4 is to invest 15% of your household income into a Roth IRA or a pre-tax retirement, such as a 401k or something like that, which I'll get into more towards the end of this video. Baby step number 5, fund college for children. Baby step number 6, pay off your home early. Baby step number 7, build wealth and give a bunch away, basically. So those are his baby steps, and honestly, like, they're really important. It's super important to be able to pay off your debt. You're not going to be able to get to the next level in life if you have a bunch of debt holding you down. And the sooner you realize that, which took me a long time. I was past my 20s when I realized this was something that I needed to do. The entire time through my 20s, I spent pissing away money on 22-inch rims on vehicles and dumb things that really didn't matter. And if I would have invested that money and just been smarter with it, I'd be in a much better financial situation than I am now. So how did I go from spending $10,000 and being in the hole on credit card to being able to set a sneaker budget every month and being able to buy whatever I need for this YouTube channel and then some? So the way that I did this was by following baby step number 2, basically paying off all non-mortgage debt. And I did this with the Snowball Method. Basically, you tackle the smallest loan that you have first, not the one with the highest interest rate. For me, it was the one that had the lowest balance. So I had a student loan that had maybe $3,000 balance on it, but it was the lowest interest rate. But I paid that one up first because that freed up $100 something, maybe $120 a month for me to then roll into the next item of my debts. And then I had another student loan after that was maybe around $10,000, but instead of putting the minimum towards that, I was taking the one that I paid off, that $100 and something extra, rolling it into the next loan and doubled down on that loan until that one was paid off. Once that one was paid off, now I freed up $400 a month, let's say. Now I could put that $400 a month from those other 2 loans that I was paying onto the third loan, and so on and so on. So I continued to roll down this debt snowball, and next thing you know, all of the debt was paid off. Once I paid off all of that debt, I was able to start formulating a sneaker budget by creating a second account. So I had a separate account specifically in the bank just for sneakers, and any money that I made off of YouTube or whatever at that time went straight to that account. That made me have a positive cash flow, and now that savings account is basically what I was using as that credit card back in the day. So the next big question I think a lot of you guys have out there is how to do this though. Great that I've told you how I did it, but how do you guys actually go out there and do it and start creating a budget for you? As I said already, follow the baby steps to get out of debt, but really how do you create income? And that's probably one of the key features that a lot of people want to know, like how can I afford them? Like what do I do for work to be able to buy all those sneakers that I can buy and show you guys on this channel? And I'll say there's a couple different revenue streams that I lean on for this sneaker channel, as well as just the rest of my savings and aggressive savings that I've been doing. So first thing I have to say is I work. Like if you guys follow me on Twitter or follow me just in general, like you know that I'm not just somebody that sits around. I have multiple jobs. I've had multiple jobs since I was in high school basically, and I just grind away, man. I might not make the most money, but I make the most of my time to be able to make as much money as I can. So what I'm saying is if you're working a 9 to 5 and you're not making enough money to be able to afford this sneaker budget that you really, really want, then pick up a weekend shift delivering pizzas. Become a waiter, maybe become an Uber driver if you want on the weekends. Do whatever you can to be able to create the most amount of money that you can. If all you have is time and you're sitting and you're bored because you don't have enough money to do things, then take that time that you're being bored and use it to being able to make some money. And so it might not be a glorious and glamorous job, but do what you can to make the extra revenue to be able to afford the things that you really want. Some of my side businesses that I've been doing, in college I became a DJ. That helped make a lot of extra money for me. It opened a lot of doors. I had a pretty crazy deal where I got 100% of the door revenue that came into the nightclub because I was the main promoter of the nightclub as well as the DJ. So it was a crazy experience. Made quite a bit of money from doing that, like thousands a night depending on the night. And I mean, that was a really, really big stepping stone. I started off making $50 a night DJing to making exponentially more money doing that. So that was one way I was able to make extra money. And then I turned that into a different side business of DJing weddings, from nightclubs to weddings. I did that for quite a while. And then I closed that business because I just wanted to spend time with the family on the weekends instead. Even though that made quite a bit of money, I was doing 10, 20 weddings a year. And I needed to focus on family and other things, including this right here, what you're watching, this sneaker YouTube channel, which makes a good amount of revenue for myself as well. A lot of other people out there do this full time. This is only part time for me because I do have a 9 to 5 day job as well. A lot of people want to know what I'm doing. I'm an IT person. I work as a business analyst for my day job. So I definitely have more financial freedom here because I do have a day job that pays pretty good. My wife also works. She's a nurse, so she makes pretty good money even though she's only part-time right now. So a couple other revenue streams that I make. Sometimes I post a lot of sneaker links to be able to buy the products that I tell you guys about in the videos, or I post them on Twitter and on my website, Collective Kicks. And basically I make a percentage, a small percentage, but a percentage of the sales of those shoes, depending on the shoe and depending on the release and stuff like that. But it's fun because I can share with you guys what I like out there, and I'm pretty selective about what I share. But I share with you guys what I like, and I do get a kickback from that, and that does generate some extra revenue for my channel, as well as for my savings and for sneakers and stuff like that. Another way that you can make money, and if you don't have a job and you're just trying to figure out how to make some sort of income to buy sneakers and that's it, you can resell sneakers. That is an option. Basically, you really need to know what you're talking about though. You need to know the market well enough to buy the sneakers that are in high demand if you buy something that's not in high demand, you could be potentially losing $30 or $50 on that purchase. If you buy the wrong size of that shoe, like an Air Jordan 1, size 11 to 13 is pretty much retail depending on the colorways. Then you can get smaller sizes and they're worth a lot more. So if you can buy the smaller sizes to sell, sometimes it's worth it if you do that. I recommend checking StockX to see what the market is really like on that item, but just know that the pre-sale of that market, meaning the sale price before the actual shoe drops on like sneakers or online, that pre-sale price is usually inflated, meaning the price is way higher than what it's going to be after the shoe actually releases. So definitely don't think of a shoe selling for $300 on the pre-sale market that if you buy the shoe, it's going to sell for $300. There's a good chance that a lot of people got their pairs in, a lot of people are selling them, and now the price is only down to $200, and you bought it for $160, so now you're making like $6 on it. Now, if you wait it out, sometimes the prices go back up after, you know, the hype goes down or whatever, but if you can afford to wait on it is another thing. So there's a lot of different methods and stuff for resale, and if you guys want to cover that in another video, I've been learning a lot through the last handful of years. The dynamic of the sneaker culture has changed significantly from when I started to now, where it's like everybody tries to hit on the hot hype beast items. Of course, I'm trying to, because if I can hit on those hot hype beast items, I can sell them potentially, if I get them, for something better than I might actually want in my collection. So there's lots of extra things that you can do to generate extra money out there. You just have to put in the time and the effort. And again, if you're bored or you're playing a ton of video games, or if all you do all Sunday is watch sports, then that might be a big deterrent for you to being able to maximize your time in making money if that's what you want to do, which is exactly what I did for forever. I mean, I played so much Xbox, it was ridiculous. I could play Xbox till 7 a.m. the next morning. This is after high school, this is after college. Like, I was playing Xbox till 7 a.m. and having to start work at 8 o'clock. And it wasn't a very good use of time. It was fun. And at that time, I actually had a video game channel, so like it made sense for me, sort of, but it didn't pan out financially. So especially with the time that went into making the videos, it wasn't worth the money that I was making from that video game channel. So I actually cut that video game channel loose as well. So let's say now that you have done all the right things, you have all your debt paid off, you do have a sneaker budget now of $200 a month, and you do have actually a little bit of extra money lying around and you're trying to figure out what to do with it. This is something that I wanted to cover because a lot of people were asking me about kind of some investment sort of stuff. So I wanted to go ahead and get into some of that with you guys. So if you started saving $200 a month for the Roth IRA, as I already mentioned, let's say the growth is only 7% and you started this at age 22. By age 65, you'd have over $500,000. That's only 7% growth. That's not even like that aggressive of a growth pattern. I know I mentioned Roth IRA and a lot of people were saying, well, what about 401ks? Like, why wouldn't you do a 401k instead? And if you look at Dave Ramsey's baby steps, number 4, invest 15% of household income into Roth IRA and pre-tax retirement. That pre-tax retirement he's talking about is something like a 401k. 401ks are super important, especially if you have a job and your employer does some sort of a match. And if you don't know if your employer does a match, that's wrong on you. You got to find that out immediately, because if your employer does do a match, let's say you put in 6% of your salary into a 401k and your employer does a 3% match to that, you don't pay anything for that. It might take a couple years for you to get it vested. That's free money. Like, you can't go wrong with free money. Some companies match 6% to 6%. Some do 6% and they only do 3%. Some may only do 1.5% if you put in 3%. Do whatever it is to be able to get that 1.5%, that 3%, or that 6% from that employer. If your employer gives you 6% for your 6% and you're only putting in 3%, you're doing it wrong. You have to be matching it and live the way that you can to be able to make that match happen. That's the first thing for sure. Like, I would honestly be doing that before I started putting money into a Roth IRA, but some people might not get a company match in 401k. And honestly, like, Roth IRA is a really strong way to go. So the difference between the two, 401k is pre-taxed, so it comes out of your paycheck before you actually see the money, goes straight to the account. You didn't pay taxes on it now, but when you turn 65, you're gonna have to pay taxes. From a Roth IRA though, it's after-tax money, so I already earned my paycheck. Let's say I got $1,000 in my paycheck for this 2 weeks or whatever, and then I took $200 of that was already taxed. Now I put that money into my Roth IRA. That money grows in your Roth IRA tax-free. As I already mentioned, $200 a month at age 22 to 65 equals $500,000 at 7% growth. That $500,000, once you pull it out, is 100% tax-free. You don't have to pay any taxes on it. That's why there's a lot of value to that Roth IRA. Also, the government caps your Roth IRA to only $5,500. And if you make a certain amount of money, you can't even contribute to a regular Roth IRA, you have to do a backdoor Roth. But really, the point is they cap it at $5,500 a year. That's all you can contribute to that Roth IRA because they don't want to have more money than that going there that's tax sheltered. So it's really like one of those jigs out there that you guys talk about for sneakers, but this is a life hack jig where you can contribute to this Roth IRA tax-free. That includes growth, compounded interest. That also includes dividends. If you take your dividends from your Roth IRA and you roll it back in to your Roth IRA, that's all tax-free. So that's why I'm like, Roth IRA is definitely the way to go. One thing I have to clarify though is if you put money into your Roth IRA account, say Fidelity or one of these investment apps or whatever you have, it is super important that you actually take that allocation and put it towards something. You can't just leave it into a Roth IRA because it's literally sitting there like a bank account. You have to invest it into something. Like I put mine into some index funds or some dividend index funds, I think. I'm not gonna tell you what to put your money in, but do some research out there to figure out what you should be contributing your money to. You could also buy stock. Like honestly, I bought some Tesla stock in my Roth IRA just for fun. It's just a way for you to be able to invest your money that's kind of tax sheltered. It's better than something like even Robinhood. So I've mentioned the Robinhood app in the past, which is something that I really use on a regular basis as well. Anytime I hit that sneaker L, if I was gonna pay $150 to a pair of shoes, I now transfer that money over to my Robinhood app and then invest that money into something else. It's just another way to do things if you haven't maxed out that Roth IRA of that $5,500 for the year. But if you have that extra money lying around or you hit on a bunch of sneakers that have a crazy amount of sneaker resale, take some of that sneaker resale profits and put it in your Roth IRA. Honestly, smartest thing you can do. I think the best thing you can do is diversify, not spend all your money on sneakers to resale, obviously, and find other things to be able to invest your money on, such as a Roth IRA, such as a Robinhood app, and such as your 401k. Hopefully this has been somewhat informative to you guys. This is kind of a crazy long video and probably way more information than most people really even wanted to hear. But I look at my audience and my audience is older, 18 to 35-ish. So hopefully this is informative to you guys out there. If you're really, really young, I apologize for the boring video. Look, there's sneakers to look out in the background and really disorganized array of shelves. It's just a disaster back there. I need to organize that really, really bad. And a lot of people were saying flip-flopping the shoes look bad. I agree. I just haven't had a chance to actually lay them out the way that I want them. Anyway, hopefully this, again, is helpful to you guys out there. It's important to be able to plan for a sneaker budget, not go in financial debt, learn from my mistakes. Again, I was at $10,000 in sneaker debt at one time. Not a good look, and now I really don't have to worry about that. Again, if you guys did like the video, please hit the thumbs up button. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. This has been a long subject, and I feel like I covered too many topics at once, but maybe you guys like it like that. If you guys want more of these type of videos, I mean, I don't know, probably won't do them, but we'll see. Have a good one though, and we'll catch you guys for some more sneaker videos very soon. Peace, guys.